In this video, I'm going to read the Hebrew text of the Psalms, uh, key Psalms, but this time Psalm 1 and 2, reading the Hebrew from uh, Biblia Hebraica, and I'm going to just be reading it and translating it into English with simply a brief summary at the end. So we read, Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halak be'atzat resha'im uvederech chata'im lo amad uvemoshav leitzim lo yeshav ki im b'torat Adonai chepso uv'torato yegeh yomam v'layla. Verse 3. V'haya ka'et shatul al pegei mayim asher piryo yetain be'ito v'halehu lo yebo v'cho asher ya'aseh yatzlicha. Verse 4. Lo chen harashaim ki im kamot asher tedefenu ruach. Verse 5. Al kain lo yakumu rashaim ba'mishpat v'chataim ba'adat tzadikim. Verse 6. Ki yodea Adonai derek tzadikim v'derek reshaim toved. Happinesses come to the man who does not walk, or who has not walked in the counsel of the wicked, nor stood in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scornful or the mockers. But in the law of the Lord is his delight, and in his law he constantly meditates under his breath day and night. He shall be as a tree transplanted by streams of water, whose his fruit he customarily gives in its season, its leaf never ever withers, and all which he does is caused to prosper. 4. Not so are the wicked, but they are as the chaff which the wind drives away. 5. Wherefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous, or covenant breakers in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked shall perish. And now reading Psalm 2. Lama rakashu goyim uleumim yegurik yatsavu malchei eretz verozanim nosadu yachad al Adonai ve'al Mashicho nenataka et moserotemu venashlicha mimenu avotemu. 4. Yoshe Bashemayim Yitzchak Adonai Yolag Lamo. 5. Jedaber Alemo Ve'apo Uvacharono Yevahalemo Va'ani Nasakti Malkiat Sion Har Kodshi. 7. Asapra El Chok Adonai Amar Elai Beniata Ani Hayom Yeliticha. 8. She'al mimeni ve'etena goyim nachalatecha v'huzatecha asay aretz. 9. Teroim b'shevet barzel kikli yotzer tenapetzem. 10. V'ata melechim haskilu yevasru shofetei eretz, or aretz. If do, verse 11, et Adonai b'yoreh v'gilu b'radah. 12. Nashkuvar penya anof et tovedu derek ki yev'ar kimata po ashrei kol chosei vo. Translating it into English, why have the nations raged and the people meditate a vain thing? The kings of the earth station themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his Messiah, against his anointed. Let us break their bands asunder. Let us cast their cords from us. 4. The one who sits in the heavens will laugh. The Lord will jeer at them. 5. Then he will speak unto them in his anger, and he will terrify them in his wrath. 6. But I have installed my king upon Zion, my holy mountain. 7. I will declare concerning the decree of the Lord. He said unto me, You are my son. I today have given birth to you. 8. Ask of me, and I'll give you the nations for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. You will crush them or shepherd them, either way, depending on what the root, it's double in or a final hay. You will crush them with an iron rod. As vessels of a potter, you will dash them to pieces. And now, kings, be wise, be instructed, judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish in the way when his wrath is quickly kindled. Happy are all who take refuge in him. This is a great psalm looking at the coronation day of a king and the revolt going on around this king. And the Lord has determined that he would reign. And all he has to do, the king said, was ask him, and he would give the nation to him for an inheritance. And then he asks those that are in rebellion to cool the rebellion. But as we look at this from a Christological point of view, in the New Testament, the first 3 verses, why do the nations rage and the peoples meditate a vain thing, and so forth, is fulfilled in the book of Acts, where we have the same wording used in Acts 4 applied to the crucifixion of Christ. And then God is determined that his king will reign, and that is Christ will reign in spite of what happened on the cross. He's destined to reign. And then as we come to verse 7 and following, the king speaks, or the Lord speaks, and that would be the Son speaking, or Christ. You are my son, this day have I begotten you, looking at the resurrection, especially as we look at the book of Acts 13. This is a resurrection text, looking at the coronation via the resurrection. You ask of me, and I'll give you the nations for your inheritance, the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. Christ is heir of all things in Romans 8. And the good news is, through our faith in him, we're joint heirs with him. And then he goes on and says, you can either translate this, you will crush them, looking at the second coming of Christ to judge, or it could mean you will shepherd them, which can have the idea of judgment as well. And that's the way the Septuagint renders it. You shall shepherd them with an iron scepter. As vessels of a potter, you shall dash them to pieces. Looking at judgment coming from the shepherd king, who is coming not only to give shepherding to those that believe in him, but also to judge. But then, verse 10, there's the exhortation to kiss the Son. O kings of the earth, be wise, be instructed. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling, and kiss the Son. Some want to translate this like kiss with purity. In other words, in terms of your relationship to the king. But I would understand nashku var as an Aramaic word for son here, being emphatic. It can be used for ben as well, for son in Hebrew. We see that in the book of Proverbs, for example, in Proverbs 30, where this word is used of son. So I would render it, kiss the Son, that is Christ, lest he be angry and you perish in the way when his wrath is quickly kindled. Happy are all they who take refuge in him. So we're to bow down and kiss the Son. I believe that is Jesus Christ. The Puritans used to conclude their preaching by inviting their audience to kiss the Son. That is, to worship Christ and bow down before Him as the resurrected King of Kings and Lord of Lords.